Welcome, everyone. We're here to the WCPA's Create Your Village Parent Support Forum today. I'm Kiara Liu. I am a volunteer board member with the WCPA. I'm a mom of two. I live in Wayland. I really wanted to bring together this crew of people after the Duxbury tragedies and really feeling the weight of the grief that happened from that, and knowing that there's so many people out there who may need help and don't know how to reach out. And also, as a mom and someone who's been through postpartum in the past, I know how hard it is to actually access resources when you're so sleep deprived and exhausted and your kids are screaming all the time and you really can't find that time for you when that is the main thing you need. So I really wanted to use this vehicle as a means to bring together people I've used in the past and people that I've met now from word of mouth from people that I have used all over. So it's amazing how when you just start seeking the information, how it can come together. I wanted to make this resource available so that parents can share it with other parents as they're expecting new babies, as they're preparing to become parents, or as they are experiencing changes in parenthood as they grow as parents. This is something that you can come back to, where you can go through the resource guide and find all these amazing faces and links to people with their bios so that you can quickly remember who you met tonight and identify who you might want to reach out to if you need some help. One of the other things that I thought was amazing after putting together this whole crew was how much there is available in our area. Sometimes it feels like there's not ways to access anything. And I learned in this process that insurance covers a lot of things. You can use your flex savings accounts, your health savings accounts. You can, some insurances cover even more than most. There is also private pay options, and many of the providers are willing to help you find ways to access some care. We also have resources here that are free so that you can go within the community and find some free supports. Another thing I wanted to mention is, because we're here with the WCPA is a great source of community. We offer many events for both parents and children and ways to bring together the greater Wayland and Metro West community to engage in some fun activities and just shake off some steam and really just grow together as a village as we go. We did it all through COVID and we're still doing it now. So it's amazing, but we really can still keep growing here. So with that said, I want to kind of introduce you to a few people who are going to be here tonight. In the beginning, I want to introduce you to Yamini Ranjan. She is the head of the Women of Wayland podcast, and she is a cheerleader in this community. You've probably run into her a million times already if you live in Wayland. She's just amazing, and I have her here helping me along the way with any technical glitches we might have in trying to figure this all out. So you might see her popping in the chat, dropping some links, and getting us all set up as we go through, but I wanted to give her a second to introduce herself as well.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm not going to take time. I'm so eager to listen to all of you and find some really solid solutions for our new mommies. I am Yamini. As you know, I host a local podcast, and this event is all about being local and helping as much as possible. And this podcast is being listened to in over 50 towns here in Massachusetts and over 36 countries. So we are not as local as people might think. So, if you ever find time, just tune in. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamini. She's amazing. And her podcast, what's really cool is she's already interviewed some of the people that could be great resources in our community. I don't think anyone's on the panel tonight, but I found, even from listening to her podcast, resources within Wayland that were incredible, and people who have incredible stories that you just feel connected instantly to. So I really encourage people to take a second to get out and listen to that and share your stories. It's really a great way to start connecting. And then our first panelist is going to be Heather O'Brien, and I wanted to welcome her in here and set the stage. I just forgot, Heather, because I know we had talked about giving some sort of warning if people are triggered at all from what we're discussing, and maybe you could do that because I forgot.
No problem.
Thank you.
So I'm Heather O'Brien. I'm a licensed independent social worker. So I'm a therapist, and I also run a support group called Emotional Wellbeing After Baby at First Connections. So I think, Kira really pulled this together really after the Duxbury tragedy. So I know that as all of us are kind of talking about the work that we do, we may bring up, and I'm certainly going to bring up things that could be kind of triggering for people, or might, as you're listening, might really bring you back to sort of a memory or an experience that could be kind of deep or heavy for you. And I think that it's just really important to know, to just be prepared that that might happen, and to know that it's normal, it's okay, it happens to lots of people. And that if that happens for you, that we just ask that you just do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. If you need to kind of pause, or fast forward, or take a deep breath, or take a drink of water, like that's okay, because we want you to take care of yourself, and we also really want you to be able to take in all of the information that's being shared today. So whatever kind of breaks you need to take as you're listening or as you're being present here, just do it, because you deserve it, and it's okay to do that. So I'll sort of just let that kind of simmer for everybody. And then Kira, should I just kind of go in and talk about what I do?
I would love that. You just gave us a great little peek, but thank you so much.
So I am I'm a therapist and a support group a facilitator. I'm going to just talk a little bit about just what is sort of postpartum mental health or perinatal mental health, sort of some statistics and some things to kind of look out for, and then kind of go into the importance of validating it and acknowledging it and getting help. So I'm going to give you some statistics that are pre-COVID. I just have to say that COVID has really heightened sort of and raised up the percentages of all kinds of mental health complications. I don't really know the statistics right now. I've seen some preliminary research, and it's pretty astounding. So I'll sort of give you these, but just know that the actual statistics are probably higher. So about 15% of postpartum or perinatal people have postpartum depression. Postpartum anxiety occurs in about 10% of people. And then postpartum PTSD, which is related to birth trauma, occurs in about 9% of people. Psychosis, which is really what we talk when we're talking about the Duxbury case, that was a case of psychosis. Psychosis is 0.1% to 0.2% of the birth-giving people. And so it's really important to note that that's a really small percentage, because I think it can be really scary when we see a case like that to think like, oh my gosh, that could happen to me. It's very unlikely that it's going to happen to you. It's important for all of us to know that it's a possibility, but also kind of really important to know how small a percentage is. I think that being said, it's really important to know that the percentage of people who are experiencing postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and postpartum trauma is actually a pretty big percentage. I see so many parents in my therapy practice or in my group who come and they're on their second child or third child, and they talk about how they suffered through that first child, kind of thinking that this was normal, whatever they're experiencing was normal, and they never got help, or they tried to get help and they weren't taken seriously, so they just like white knuckled it through it. And it's so upsetting to me to hear those stories and to see that happening. And so my hope is that kind of all of us here and everybody listening can kind of take that into account and know that there's no reason to white knuckle it. You don't have to suffer. You just absolutely don't have to suffer. I also have heard from so many parents, postpartum parents, really talking about sharing these experiences of asking for help. And saying, gosh, I'm really not doing okay, or going to their OB or their pediatrician, or a family member and saying like, I don't feel okay, this isn't right, and being kind of pushed aside, or saying like, oh, you're fine, it's just the baby blues. And that is also so upsetting to me. And so I really think that, anybody listening or any of the practitioners that are here today, I think it really is our job as community members, as family members, as professionals, as friends, to really take take people seriously. And when they're telling us that they're struggling, to take them seriously. So our job is to offer resources, validate, and encourage new parents to and pregnant parents to get the help that they need. So Kira did an amazing job in her resource book that has all these amazing, like, immediate resources that you can go to if you're struggling, or if you know somebody who's struggling, you can be like, here's Postpartum Support International, here's the Maternal Mental Health Hotline, here's 988 that you can call or text and get help if you're, and here's the Parental Stress Line. Those are amazing resources. They are immediate help right at your fingertips. And it's, you know, I think a lot of us sort of feel like, oh, I don't know where to go, or I don't know how to get help. But, you know, I think this resource booklet and this podcast and this recording can really help us, you know, get those resources out there and know that we have these sort of this help right at our fingertips. I also just really love, you know, I love that we're going to be talking with all of these practitioners, you know, after me, because most of the women and the families that I work with really have a hard time sort of figuring out how to do self-care. And self-care is a huge part of feeling better. Self-care is, you know, is meditation. Self-care is yoga. Self-care is, you know, going and doing something for your skin or for your body. Self-care is taking photographs of your beautiful self and your beautiful body. Self-care is getting a doula. Self-care is getting help with breastfeeding. Self-care is getting help, you know, with financial planning. All of those things are self-care. And when we allow ourselves to get that care and say yes to that care, then we can feel better. So all of those, I'm just really excited to hear what everybody else is saying. And I'm just really excited to be here. I think that's it, unless Kira, you have anything else that you'd like me to say.
That was amazing. I didn't pay you for that. Amazing. Like, you just really teed that up. But yes, that was so wonderful. Heather, one of the things that I think I didn't hear was just what you do right now to help support people. Like, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, and because I know you're with First Connections and you're doing some private therapy. So if you want to share a little bit about that, that'd be helpful.
Yes. So I do have a private therapy practice. It's located in Air. I'm a therapist. I do take insurance. I also have a sliding scale for perinatal people. So it's a very special sliding scale. And I do all kinds of, you know, therapy to help treat anxiety, depression. It's very supportive. It's very validating. It's very comfortable. And I see people via telehealth. So I have, you know, and in Massachusetts, I have a client in Brookline and I have a client in Northampton and anywhere in between. And then at First Connections, I run a support group. It's a weekly support group every Thursday at 9:30. Again, really for people in Massachusetts. And it's on Zoom every Thursday. We have once a month, we have it in person. And it's really a place where we create a very non-judgmental, safe place where people can, in a group setting, talk about what's weighing heavy on their heart. It's very structured, and it's really, I think the most amazing thing about it is to be able to come and talk about what's going on and hear somebody else say the same exact thing, and just realize that you're not alone, because this perinatal postpartum period can be really isolating. I'm going to just say one more thing. You know, we talk about perinatal mental health. That includes men, that includes anybody of any gender identity or gender expression. That includes birthing parents and non-birthing parents. It does not discriminate. So just another really important thing to remember.
You are so wonderful. So it just really brings it full circle. I totally experienced this in my journey through postpartum. I was totally told, you're fine, you're just struggling being a mom and you need some more resources. And it's like, if you're told that and you don't have the gumption to keep fighting, like it can really take you down. So I want to encourage anyone who ever does hear something like that to know, if you're still feeling like you need more support, just reach out. All of these people can help you get directed to the right place and help support you. And when you're looking for a provider, if the first one you talk to in that little checkbox of yours doesn't fit right for you, move on to somebody else. There's always more people that offer some of the services as well. So I want to encourage you to really think about what feels right for you and your family, who you jive with. And that's kind of why we created this forum today too. We have some people who offer similar services, and you can start to get to know different personalities and where you might feel most connected. So do your research. I've teed it up for you so you can start really just jumping in and knowing where to go. And we're going to go through the rest of our speakers today. I've lined them up so that we're kind of going by different practice areas so that it makes a little bit of sense. The next guest that we're going to have is David Feakes from the Parents Estate Planning Law Firm. He's a wonderful resource that I wanted to introduce you guys to because we don't think about what happens with our kids if something bad happens, or how to plan in the future if we need a little extra help if we're in any way incapacitated. And I've worked with David in the past, and he's wonderful to educate you and to help support parents. He's very active in the Wayland community and has a kids protection plan I want him to tell you a little bit about. So I'm going to tee him up to jump in anytime when he's ready.
Shari, appreciate it. And I think I might be the only gentleman on the call tonight. So I appreciate my unique spot here tonight.
We need you.
So my name is David Feakes. I'm the owner and founder of the Parents Estate Planning Law Firm. We are up in Acton, and we are estate planning primarily for families with young kids. And so that makes us a little bit different than what I would call more traditional estate planning firms, who are usually more focused on clients in their 60s and 70s and 80s. But here's what I know about families with young kids, because I used to be the father of young kids myself. Now they're young adults, but parents of young kids are the people who are most in need of a good, solid estate plan, but they're also the people who are least likely to have it. And that's because when we're young, we feel like nothing is going to happen to us and we're not going to die. And also because it's very dark to think about our children's lives without us in it, as a part of it. And so we shy away from the planning, and we don't want to go to that dark place. But the planning for you is so important, because you have kids that can't take care of themselves if you're not there to care for them, and they can't manage money and resources on their own if you're not there to help manage it for them. So the planning is so super important for all of you, because your kids really need you to do this for them. And I've been focused on families with young kids ever since my kids were really little. And what I discovered is that traditional estate planning leaves a lot of gaps in plans. And what I had to do as the father of young kids was figure out where those gaps were so that I could fill them in my own plan. And then everything I discovered along the way is something that I built it into the planning for all of our clients. And we are out in the community teaching parents on a regular basis, so that you know the kinds of questions you need to be asking, you know the kinds of decisions you need to be making, so that you can create a really bright future for your kids, even in a potentially dark time. And as Kira said, one of the things that I'm really proud of is our kids protection plan, which is a really, really deep dive into guardianship planning for your kids, so that no matter what happens, there are people all along the way to care for your kids, love them, raise them, and guide them until they are all 18 and no longer in need of a formal legal guardian. So that's a little bit about us. We've got a page in the resource guide with some more ways to connect with us on social media and more directly. But if you do want to connect with us directly, the best way is to call our office at 978-263-6900, or you can email our intake coordinator in the offices, our client services coordinator. Her name is Lori, and you can email her directly at support@parentsesstateplanning.com. But that's us. Kira, thank you so much for the opportunity to share tonight. I really appreciate it.
So glad to have you here. Thank you, David. The only other thing I had for you was thinking about going into the hospital. You also help set up healthcare proxies, right? So that people can think through that too, I think, right?
Yeah. Yep. So guardianship planning is not all we do. We're obviously helping parents plan for the management of assets for kids while they're still young and how to get those assets to your kids when they're old, and also creating incapacity plans for you so that if you're ever incapacitated, someone can step in and make healthcare, legal, or financial decisions for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, David, for your time and for being
Thanks.
here and holding up the man crew here. Like, I'm sure people will appreciate that. Okay, so next we have Suze Thornfeldt from Btone Fitness in Wayland. She is a ray of light who just helps support some physical and self-care and just having so much fun. If you don't already follow them on Instagram, I highly encourage it because you get to see so many different costumes and fun, different activities that they do. They're just always just bring me smiles to my face, and their workouts are wonderful, and anybody can do it because this girl can, and she can do everything. So Suze, do you want to tell us a little bit more about you and what Btone is?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. Like Kira mentioned, I'm Suze. I'm the owner of Btone Fitness Wayland, right in the Wayland Town Center. Opened just about a year ago. And I'm really, as she mentioned, on the self-care spectrum. I am also a mom here in Wayland. I have 10-year-old twins in the Wayland Public Schools. And I was a former WCPA member, and the WCPA really was my lifeline to creating friendships, connections within the town, especially when my kids were little. And, when they were little, I kind of treaded water through their first year of life. Really was fortunate to discover some good friends, but also to discover Btone as a client. It gave me a place to go. It gave me a place for really me time, really became the epitome of self-care as a group fitness facility. Became a very empowering environment for me. So flash forward to 2022, I decided to open a Btone here in Wayland with that in mind, just to provide an empowering, inclusive, and supportive environment for not only people looking to get fit, it's a super effective and efficient workout, but also a place for people to come together, share stories, share their fitness journey, share their parenting journey. And it really has become just that. If you don't know much about Btone, our motto is slow movements, fast results. It's all a megaformer inspired workout. So you're on a machine for 45 minutes, guided by an instructor. It is low impact workout. So it really is designed for all levels of fitness, all ages, also very safe and appropriate for pregnant women and also postpartum women. We really pride ourselves on being able to provide the modifications for pregnant women and also women just coming out of a pregnancy or coming out of their postpartum state, really being able to safely guide them through our workout. We also offer childcare. So again, thinking back to when my kids were itty bitty, sort of my sanity check was being able to go somewhere to work out and kind of have that time to myself. And any place I could bring my kids and leave them safely while I was able to work out was a huge, huge bonus. So 3 days a week we do in our childcare space, offer childcare. So we have kind of all ages, toddler down to infants that can come in and play, hang out, do some fun things while parents get their 45 minutes to themselves. So it really, it's been a game changer for me on my own fitness journey, but to be able to kind of be a more part of this community for people who, really need it, are looking and seeking connection more than ever now. So we are here in the town center for you. You head to our website, that's got pretty much everything, the class schedule, pricing, and I'm also always available to be reached by email. So I think all of that is going to be in the resource packet, but that's kind of everything Btone.
It's amazing. We're so glad that you're here, Suze, and my kids are like big fans of that childcare room. And your music is great because you can't hear them like dive bombing off the walls. It's wonderful. So I highly suggest it. It's wonderful. All right. So next we have Lauren Oliver. I think she's here. I think I saw her peeking from Vibrant Body Yoga. Hello, you're here. Hey, I'm like waving at you on my other screen. So it's like you're right in my room. I'm so glad that you're here. You're going to be speaking and telling us all about your yoga therapy, and I'm so glad that you're joining us. So I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you all. My name is Lauren Oliver. I am a certified yoga therapist as well as an integrative health coach. I've been working with a specific focus on women's health since 2010, and I absolutely love working with folks in the perinatal period. I take a really integrative approach to working with my clients. So if you were to become my client, of course, we would start with a focus on the body. Chronic pain is one of my areas of expertise. And so, of course, in the postpartum period, you might be dealing with low back pain, neck pain, hip pain, SPD, diastasis recti, any number of things, of course. And so we work to really specifically and strategically strengthen muscles that are weak and then stretch muscles that are tight. So creating more balance in the body, addressing any areas of imbalanced strength or lack of mobility. So restoring pain-free range of motion. There's also, with the postpartum time, the necessity to work on restoring deep core strength and also addressing oftentimes some pelvic floor dysfunction. Often, but not always in the postpartum period, there is some loss of tone in the pelvic floor. And so, that can contribute to prolapse or stress incontinence. So working to rebuild some of that pelvic floor strength if needed. And it's much more than just Kegels. It's much more complex than that, as I'm sure all of my pelvic floor PTs on tonight can attest to. There's also, in my practice, a great deal of focus on mental and emotional health. And so my educational background is in nutritional epidemiology as well as clinical herbalism. I did work in integrative medical practice for about 8 years before getting into yoga therapy. And so that's something that I offer my clients as well. Targeted nutrition, targeted herbalism to help kind of support replenishing any lost nutrients from the rigorous requirements of pregnancy, childbirth, and potentially breastfeeding as well. And also helping to ease that hormonal transition into the 4th trimester so that we can prevent, hopefully, baby blues from becoming postpartum depression. So working to support you nutritionally in that way. And then if you are struggling with depression, anxiety, PTSD, or even more run-of-the-mill overwhelm, exhaustion, stress, there's so much that we can do, so many tools that we can use to support you. So whether that be with breath work or somatic techniques, therapeutic movement, I bring in a lot of Ayurvedic practices. And like I said, targeted nutrition and herbalism as well. So I really do provide a very holistic and integrative approach for each of my clients. Because, I really do value a very personalized approach. There's no set protocols in my practice. I don't believe in a one size fits all for anything. If you come and see me as a client, our sessions together will often be very different from, my sessions with another client, because it is all based on what is present in your body and what is happening for you on an emotional level, on a mental level, on an energetic level. So I am currently taking new clients, both virtually as well as in person. I work in studios in both Stowe and Westford, and I actually live in Acton. I know there were some other Acton folks or area folks in here as well. And I'm currently, I am on the resource page. You can reach out to me via email there. I do offer free consult calls if you want to have, ask any questions you have, tell me about what's going on with you, maybe, chatting about whether we'd be a good fit for each other. And I am also currently offering $200 off for anyone who's on this call tonight or watching the recording for any of my perinatal packages, prenatal or postpartum, as long as you book before the end of April. So that's just a little bit about me. And I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening.
Thank you so much for getting here. I know you were running in. That's amazing. You just really covered a lot of gamuts, and I'm excited to learn about you and what you offer. The world needs you. So thank you for being here. Up next, we have Jacqueline Parks of the Skintique. She's going to tell us about her beautiful salon here in the Wayland area. She is an amazing person, and I'm really excited for you to get to know her. Come on, Jacqueline.
Hi, can you hear me?
You got it.
Thank you so much, Kiera, for putting this together. Your hard work is appreciated, and I love that you can pull this together in such a short amount of time. You're amazing. But hello, everyone. My name's Jacqueline Parks Rodriguez, and I'm the owner of the Skintique in Wayland. It's a day spa, and we've been here since February of 2021. Struggled through the pandemic a little bit, but you know, it's a great town to be in for a small business. So I just really appreciate giving back to this community, because you guys have like rallied around my business to keep me floating. So I'm happy to be in this town. So a few years ago, the world stopped. Parents didn't. And we all felt it. I have children. Everyone has children. Even if you don't have children, your world stopped. The weight of the world was on your shoulders. The weight of your children's world was on your shoulders, your spouses. And the mission of the Skintique has always been to provide relaxation therapy, but it became more pointed as soon as I was able to open and provide a sanctuary for you to come and just breathe and have someone give you that contact that we were deprived of for many, many months. So it gave fuel to my mission personally of what I wanted to bring to the world, and validation of this is what I'm supposed to do. And so the Skintique has become a place where I want everyone to feel like you can just come and remember who you are, remember yourself, and breathe, because breathing is the key to life, right? So every facial, waxing, body treatment, massage is meant to give great results and feel good, like especially with the skincare, but we have a special way of doing things so that you come in and just relax and we do all the hard work. So it's been a great time, you know, learning about the different resources here in Wayland, and I've connected with a few of you here already, and it's been great. But yeah, this is a place where parents can come, anybody can come, but we're talking specifically about parents and the weight on them. And you can come here and know that you can lie on a warm table and you can talk, you can be quiet. You're gonna have me telling you to close your eyes and take a deep cleansing breath. And I'm gonna use my hands to help you achieve relaxation. Okay, say you don't like to be touched. You can come in and have a foot soak. You can literally put your feet in hot water with floral and lavender and just be for a moment here. We're right across the street from Hannah Williams Park. So, you know, if you have somebody that can, you know, keep an eye on your child or children, a dad maybe, or a mom, and come in and have some time for yourself, that's always a great thing. But yeah, we're happy to pamper you here, and you can find us at theskintique.com. And I like to do tutorials and videos at the Skintique on Instagram. So even if you can't come in, like sometimes you can find some DIY, you know, projects at home. It's meant to be an outlet. This is your outlet, and you're welcome here anytime. I work from my heart. And yeah, that's about it. But yeah.
Oh, Jacqueline, you're amazing. I seriously like feel your heart anytime I'm with you. So like it pours from you, all that light and energy just pours right into your clients. And I heard it from word of mouth is how I got to you. And once I met you, I was going to scoop you up and keep you. So now I'm telling the world, and you better make room for me. No, thank you so much. Our next guest is Heather Chiancola. I just probably butchered her last name, but she lived in my house during the pandemic and took care of our family when we had our baby on April 2nd, right after the world shut down. And Heather was our postpartum doula. She's an amazing woman who is now really turning her focus onto Reiki. And I want to introduce her to you and what Reiki can do for you. And Heather, just come on up.
I forgot how to unmute. I got nervous. Sorry. Just to clarify, I didn't actually live in Kira's house. That is not, she offered for me to live in her house. I was there a lot, but I didn't actually move in with her. I have my own children and everything that I had to take care of. But anyway, it was a wonderful time, minus the whole pandemic part. But she did start to talk a little bit about my transition from being a doula to Reiki. So I am a birth and postpartum doula. I've been a doula for 7 years. And so just as a way to have sort of more tools in my toolbox as a doula, I got certified or attuned in Reiki so that I could, be able to help people while they were in labor or when they were healing postpartum or needed help sleeping. And I just kind of did it that way. And now I'm trying to be able to reach a larger group of people by being able to take my passion for helping and healing people to everybody and not just people in the postpartum period. That being said, I'm on a parent group, so I will specifically talk mostly about how Reiki can help in the parenting phase in all sorts of different ways. If you don't know what Reiki is, it's the universal life energy. It is not religious. There is no you will not be offending anybody by getting Reiki, and there's no body manipulation. So it's a hands-on healing practice that can also be done virtually / distantly, but it doesn't do any massage or reflexology, and it is a complementary medicine. So it is not there to replace anything from a physician or a psychologist. It is to add on to anything, but I am not going to be able to heal massive wounds within minutes or anything like that. So I'm not going to oversell it. But I really enjoy it because everybody can benefit from it, and it just makes a huge difference. And it's really fascinating to me to hear the feedback from everybody that I work on, the different ways that it can affect them and the different ways that it can affect them from session to session too. But so some of the ways that it can help in the parenthood, if you will, is promoting relaxation during pregnancy, helping to prepare the body for birth. It can help with relaxation, calming, and balancing for those going through their fertility journey. That can be a really anxiety-inducing time period or a whole lot of different emotions, not to mention kind of hellacious on your body. So it helps to have some sort of balance there. And also, I know that we talk a lot about, the birthing bodies, but for adoptive parents, it's an incredibly stressful time period for a very long time, usually leading up to adoption and then into it, and having somebody be there to support you during that and help give you some balance and soothing can be really, really beneficial. We could also help you with processing birth trauma. That's definitely something that I know that I personally have experienced, that I have found Reiki to be really useful for. And it can help ease postpartum mood disorders, ranging from the baby blues to postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression. Again, it's just another tool in your toolbox against all of the cool hormonal things that happen to you. And it can help you heal from birth. It literally feels good for your body. Like my teacher taught me, you know, the issues are in your tissues. And so being able to help somebody be able to release some of the pent up stuff that happens from birth. Like birth is beautiful, birth is amazing, but birth is traumatizing to your body. And then it can also help restore calmness to your life, because now it can feel a little bit upside down, whether it's because you have your first baby in the house or your 10th baby in the house, which heaven knows now you for sure need some balance in your house. And what I do for Reiki is I am a traveling Reiki practitioner or a distance Reiki practitioner. So I do not have an in-person office, but I'm happy to come to people's houses and do a session for them there, or do it distantly. The cool thing about doing it distantly is that you can do whatever you want during it. You don't have to, like, really hard as a parent to A, find the time to carve out for yourself, and B, actually commit to carving out that time for yourself, and then not being stressed out well, because you're like, oh yeah, this massage feels really great, but I have 19 things to do, which is what I do when I get my massages. I still get them, but I'm a little bit up there in my head during it too. So this could be done any time of the day. I've done it for people when they're flying with kiddos for their first time, or they are giving a big presentation, or they have a like scary doctor's appointment, or are going to be getting something painful done, and being able to like line up my session with what's going on with them, just to give them an extra layer of relaxation and calm. And then, because I am all about how can I automate self-care for myself, for Connect the Dots Healing, which is my Reiki business, I have a subscription service where you can pay for a monthly subscription where you get 1 hour of distance Reiki included in that, and then you get 22% off of any other appointments that you book through me through that time, because some months you might need a little bit more love and some months you might not, and they stack up so you don't like lose your $90. Like you will always be able to get your sessions from me, and that is, I think, a really lovely way to commit to yourself to take care of yourself, because I know I struggle with that. So like the asking for help thing that we were talking about here is a lovely way that you can be like, and check, I did this, and then just connect with me and we will connect the dots together. I think that I covered it all.
You brought that full circle. That was awesome. No, like, it's so true. You really do have to like book that time. And I was actually talking to Jacqueline about that, like booking your session before you leave so that you make sure that you show up the next time. And same with Btone, they got an app for that, which is very helpful. So wonderful to have you here, Heather. Thank you so much. And we're going to move on to Hedy Herrick from Nurture Whole Health. She's an acupuncturist and also does Reiki, and can tell us a little bit about her practice and how she's set up.
I do have a slight correction. I don't know how that got in there. I don't do Reiki.
Oh, JK. Well, it's me and I don't sleep. And
I love Reiki, but I don't actually do it. I would love to learn.
We'll take that right off of there.
But yeah, so hi, I'm Hedy, everybody. And I'm one of 2 acupuncturists who work at Nurture Whole Health. So Libby Hirsch is the owner, and her and I work together. So kind of here representing both of us. But yeah, we have an office in Concord, and we just opened up a second location actually in Bolton, but I'm assuming for this community, Concord is probably the better location. But you know, we truly see the whole gamut of sort of health issues, concerns, and address everything. But we do have a very strong focus in sort of fertility support for both men and women. So a lot of our patients will start coming to see us to try to conceive, and then they conceive and they're like, can I still come? And we're like, yes, of course. And we really help a lot throughout the sort of, you know, throughout pregnancy with, there's so many issues that can come up and so little that you can do, you can't take medications a lot, or you know, there's just not as many treatments. And we also can help sort of prepare for birth. There's some things we can do for if the baby's not in the correct position. There's just kind of general labor prep and stuff. And then at that moment, we still get the question, well, can I still come after? And then again, it's like, yes, we would love to support you. And, there's, as I'm sure everybody here sort of feels, a big hole in sort of our culture of taking care of the mother, like sort of that postpartum period. The focus is like, just get back to normal as quick as possible, instead of really like taking that time to heal and help the body recover from such a huge change. Just so much happens, and so many of our patients who might come to us years later, sometimes a pregnancy corrects problems that were there. Like I always had this, and then I got pregnant and it was fine. And then sometimes it's almost can introduce something, or ever since this is sort of my new norm. And just talking about sort of the taking care of like our mental emotional states. Like the thing that I love so much about Chinese medicine and acupuncture is just everything is so interconnected, and sort of modern medicine, we talk a lot about like the gut-brain axis, but that's always been a part of sort of acupuncture and the channel theory. So if you worry your digestion doesn't work as well, but if your digestion's not working as well, you worry. And it doesn't kind of matter which is first and what's causing what, because it's just so interconnected. So we just look at the person, we really we cover everything and see their tendencies and their constitution, and what's going to happen when your body becomes stressed. What's going to happen when you're feeling a little bit weaker, or you're having the pressure on you. Which direction are you going to go, and how can we kind of help you so that you don't get those migraines, or you don't have such an upset stomach, or with a new mom who might be breastfeeding, who tends to there's women who are prone to get mastitis because they just have a lot of stagnation. We can really just kind of help prevent a lot of those kind of things from happening. So I could go on and on about like all of the conditions that we can treat. I mean, we can treat like body pain as well. Obviously, so much has changed in the physical body, and carrying a baby and all of that. But we really just are here to support kind of anybody at sort of any stage postpartum, like, or before, but it can be a month or 2 months or 2 years or 10 years. So it's never too late. But yeah, so I think I'm rambling a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of it. So
It's one of those things that like, once you hear about acupuncture, I think a lot of people don't understand it. Like, so it's very helpful. And I want to encourage people, if this kind of piques your interest when you hear all these different conditions that can be treated, to really look into this. You guys have a ton of resources on your website too, that kind of go through all the different prognoses you can have or issues that you're dealing with. And you can treat men and women. It's not just in the postpartum period. It really helps. So I think it's a great resource that's out there.
And we're always happy if anybody wants to know, like, could this help my certain situation? We're always happy to talk to people and kind of get a little background, give you some information of what you could expect and all of that. So, because it does seem like a little bit of a black hole sometimes. What is this and how does it help? And it's hard to quickly summarize it, but we're like willing to always chat through and just see if it's a good fit with people. So
that's awesome. Thank you so much for your help. My only other question for you, since you're like kind of rounding out our group of self-care, is really, I guess, stating the fact that we can bring all of these services together. Like, one person who does acupuncture can still do Reiki and can still go do their fitness routines and like also see someone for yoga therapy. Like, you can blend all of these things together to help really fulfill that self-care need that your body might need together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. And a lot of people feel like they get sort of the right combination for them. Like, I'm doing these 3 things, and those 3 things together, like, really like make me feel like I'm functioning optimally. And, so they're all very complementary to each other for sure.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Our next guest couldn't be here tonight, but has submitted a pre-recorded message. Her name is Allie Vanderbaan. She's a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist serving the Boston metro area and out here in the Metro West. She has an office both in Boston and in Westwood. She's going to introduce herself in a pre-recorded message. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, my name is Allie Vanderbaan and I am an acupuncturist, herbalist, and the owner of Yintuition Wellness with locations in Westwood and Boston in the Back Bay. And at Yintuition Wellness, we focus on women's health from prenatal and even preconception to through pregnancy, into postpartum, and supporting moms first time, second time, third time, and beyond in navigating life as a mom and as a woman. And we treat everything: digestive issues, mental health, anxiety, depression, overwhelm, and stress, and help to navigate that with you and help to introduce your body to a different way of managing all the things you're responsible for in your life, so that you can continue to do the things that you need to do and do them well without developing any symptoms. And when things do come up, because stress can get out of hand and other things come up, like we end up eating a lot of our kids' food as opposed to stuff we know would serve us better, we can help with those things: digestion, mood changes, aches and pains from picking your kids up or carrying too much, moving furniture, that kind of stuff, everything that comes up in our lives. And the way acupuncture works is, or the way a treatment works, is that you come in after making an appointment online or by phone. You'll have forms to fill out ahead of time, and that way we can really hit the ground running with what will really serve you best in our treatment. So we decide on a couple of treatment goals, and then we get you onto the treatment table where we insert a couple of points. Usually 10 to 20 points. You get to rest there for 30 minutes and let the treatment kind of set in and let your body digest the new information that it's sending. And sometimes we'll include something like cupping or massage, whatever seems appropriate for your needs. And then typically treatment is a series of treatments, so anywhere from 3 to 4 visits to 6 to 8, and it really depends on what we think is appropriate and what you think you can manage with your schedule. And we do take insurance. We take Blue Cross and we take Always. And for all others, if you have out-of-network benefits, we can give you a super bill at the time of your visit, and you can send that off to them for direct reimbursement from them. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. I'd love to connect with you all. Our email is hello@yintuitionwellness.com. We're on Instagram @yintuitionwellness, and our website is yintuitionwellness.com.
Okay, up next today is Melissa Diaz. She's a chiropractor, and I saw her today because I sat down too long. So she's going to come in here and share some of the amazing things that she can do for your body if you get all jammed up from sitting too long or having a baby.
Hello, everybody. Hi again, Kira. It's nice, so lovely to see you a little earlier today. My name is Dr. Melissa Diaz. I am a chiropractor. I've been in practice for the last 12 years. My husband and I have a practice in Framingham, so we're not too far from Wayland there. We're down the street from the Natick Mall and by TJX Company, so nice and conveniently located. So a little bit about me. I am kind of a birth fanatic. I've always been very interested in helping women pre and postpartum, and I've done pretty much all my specializing and training post-graduation towards that. So it's something that I've been learning a lot about and practicing for a long time now. I'm also a childbirth educator. I'm a certified lactation educator. I'm trained in spinning babies. I'm Webster Technique certified. I am Body Ready Method trained, long story short, I love learning and I love treating pregnancy. So I just like adding all these different tools to my arsenal. So the way that I treat is very specialized, and it's almost not just structurally making sure that the mom is feeling better, that she is like avoiding pain. A lot of times they come in because they have sciatica, they have, low back pain, they have persistent chronic neck issue. And these are all things that we can help chiropractically. But also with prenatal care, a lot of times they're very anxious about getting treated, and they're very anxious about getting chiropractic for the first time during pregnancy. But it is a very safe way to address all these different body issues that they may be experiencing, but doesn't involve any medication. It doesn't involve anything that is going to be negatively affecting them. So it's a great way to optimize their body for birth. And then after birth, it's a great way to almost regain some of that function, and help them through that healing process. So the way that I incorporate the childbirth education and the lactation education into that is because I get to have these deep conversations with my patients. And a lot of times the issues that they're having also are connected to other things that they're dealing with. So say postpartum, a lot of times they'll come in and they'll have issues with their neck. They'll have issues with their upper back because they're holding the baby in a certain way. And sometimes now I can help them not only alleviate that, but also let's look at the way that you're holding the baby. Is there another way that we can maybe, latch in different positions so that it's less aggravating for you? And I can also treat the baby. So that's another thing that I don't necessarily advertise as much, but I do treat infants. I am trained in all kinds of techniques for that. So when they're having latching issues, I can treat mom and I can treat baby. In my office, you can come together. You can bring your kids. Everybody's welcome. We have a little playroom area for older siblings if need be. So it's a very welcoming kind of space for families to come in. And a lot of times when mom comes pregnant, there's usually a toddler in tow. So you want to make sure that toddler is welcome, that they're going to be entertained, and it's going to be a safe environment for everybody where everybody feels comfortable coming in. We also take insurance. We are, we are a medical practice in that way that we take insurance, we do appointments, and everything's, very streamlined in that way. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about, coverage and anything like that. And you can always email me for questions about treatment and everything.
It was so wonderful, meeting you. I had sciatica, so I had to go because I could not function while I was pregnant. And I was very nervous because I didn't know how you would lay on a bed when you're pregnant, but you have a bed that you can actually even lay down, face down on, which, yes. People should pay for that service alone, just to be able to lay on your stomach. And you found a sticker on my son's neck when he was born, when he was an infant, from when we went to adjust him. So you can find many things.
That was amazing. I still think about that and laugh.
His little neck fold. Oh my gosh. But you're just a wonderful resource, and you really are. You're on the way to Wegmans. You're right there. So it's just so close. And I hope people get to check you out. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Our next guest is going to be Natalie Ollmann from Joint Ventures PT here in Wayland, and she helps you with all your physical therapy needs. So I want to let her come on here and tell us a little bit about what she does.
Hi, thanks, Kara. Can you hear me? I'm good. All right. So yes, my name is Natalie. I'm a physical therapist, and I've been working at Joint Ventures Physical Therapy in Wayland for the last couple of months. I've been a physical therapist since 2013. And then the last 6 years, I've really been working with and taking classes for pelvic health therapy specifically. And then the last 3 years, I've really delved into more of the pregnancy and postpartum care aspect of that. In general, physical therapists, we're looking at muscles and how the body is moving, determining what's maybe causing your pain, dysfunction, And then with pelvic floor therapy, I delve a little bit more into the pelvic floor muscles and determine, what is causing maybe that dysfunction, either weakness or tightness of those muscles. And it can also relate to the muscles of the low back, the hip. I see a lot of people that have back pain, hip pain, lower abdominal discomfort, and a lot of that is coming from the pelvic floor muscles. So that's a big piece of what kind of looking at to determine what's going on there. So some diagnoses that I might see are urinary fecal incontinence, constipation, urinary frequency, urgency, pain with intercourse. And then, pregnancy postpartum wise, I treat diastasis recti, pelvic organ prolapse, sciatica, low back pain, kind of anything that might go along with that, pregnancy does not have to be painful, and that there are ways to kind of help yourself, get through it and to figure out how to make it a more enjoyable experience along the way. So some reasons that I always recommend seeing a pelvic health PT, hopefully, during or after your pregnancy. One is there's just a multitude of changes that happen in the body during pregnancy. That can lead to pain and dysfunction. So wanting to take care of those things. If we injure our knee, we go see a therapist, or, athletes, they're trained, they get ready for that big marathon that they're going to be running. And why are we not, training ourselves for the marathon that is pregnancy and that final, delivery. So with those changes in the body, I'm looking at what are the muscles doing with that increased laxity? How are they responding? And working and figuring out, do we need to strengthen them, lengthen them? And then specifically with the pelvic floor, someone else, I forget who it was, said, it's not just about the Kegels. That might be an aspect where we need strength for, urinary incontinence possibly, but then there's also that piece of our puzzle, especially with pregnancy, of letting the muscles lengthen and relax in order to have that smooth delivery, decrease that risk of tearing. So that's definitely something that I work with. And then the abdominals are another key piece. Whether you have a vaginal birth or a C-section, the abdominals are going to be affected as baby pushes out on that belly. So I kind of look at, safe return to lifting, safe return to exercise, making sure we have that support of the abdomen to allow ourselves to just, get back into what you want to do and what you love. So I always am recommending for an assessment of some sort, with a physical therapist is a huge piece of that. And then just kind of like a quick little brief, like, what do I look at? People are always like, when they come in for a physical pelvic floor assessment, they're like, what am I doing here? And what are you going to do? So I always say, it's okay. I'm going to do what you feel comfortable with. And usually that's first is just a nice history, figuring out what's going on, asking you questions. And then I look at, posture assessment. I look at your mobility, hips, the back, and then also looking at the strength of the muscles, obviously. And I am trained to do internal work as well, to look at that pelvic floor. But again, I always am kind of allow patients to kind of lead that, and when they're ready for that assessment, and when we need to, address that. So that can be a piece of it as well. And then treatment wise, I do manual therapy, soft tissue work, mobilizations of the, spine, pelvis, rib cage, whatever might need to, move a little bit better. Everything gets kind of pushed and moved during pregnancy. So I allow that body to kind of know that it's not pregnant anymore and that it's okay to come back. It's okay to return to, that pre-state, and then exercise, making sure it's a safe return for you to, get back to what you want to do. And then a lot of, looking at posture. Again, kind of body mechanics. How are you holding the baby? Can we help with maybe, that return to work eventually? You're going to be sitting for a while. What things do we have to strengthen and make sure that you're not going to be ending up with a lot of back pain after, getting back into work, and things like that. So kind of look at a lot of different aspects of your life and your activities as a mom and a parent as well. And then specifically for, you know, my pregnant moms, we do some prep for labor and delivery, breathing positions, you know, labor positions, looking at what position might be best for you. And then also doing massage to prepare again for that delivery. And at Joint Ventures, it's all one-on-one treatment. We have our own individual room, so it's a nice atmosphere there. And that's regardless of whether, you know, pelvic health therapy or even our ortho therapists, great condition with that. We take most insurances, and you can always call into the office to see if we take yours. You know, our front staff is really great. I'm at the office Monday through Friday, and I think all my contact information will be in the packet, but you can always email me. I think I put both my email and then also our patient care coordinators emails for, like, if you do want to schedule an assessment to come in and see me. But you can also just email me privately at that email address if you have any questions about what I might be looking at, or if you have any questions about coming to therapy. So I think that's everything. If there's any other questions.
Thank you so much, Natalie. That's so helpful. You like really checked off my list. I was like, okay, here's another question. No, you did a great job. And I'm so glad that you were able to come here. One thing I wanted to just ask, just because I've done pelvic floor PT before, do you do internal exams there too as well, like therapies that way as well as external?
Yes. Yeah, okay. I do an internal and an external assessment typically. Again, some patients aren't always comfortable with that. And I always wait until cleared by, you know, OB or midwife after pregnancy. But I always kind of allow patients to make a judgment too on when they're ready for that. But I do think it's usually an important piece of the whole picture that we're looking at. So. Okay.
Well, that's very helpful to know. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. All right. So our next guest is going to be Natasha Heitman from Inspire Motion. She's also a physical therapist and can talk to you about some of the services that she offers. I believe she's here today. So her in here if you want to pop in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome.
Okay,
thank you.
My microphone's working. Oh, hi, I'm Natasha Heitman of Inspire Motion Physical Therapy and Wellness. I'm also a mother of 3, 6 years and under. I had them all by C-section, so I know about recovery. I am a solo practitioner. I'm working in a small private office in West Acton. I have about 14 years of PT experience, and I have been working for myself for about 8 years now. My approach to physical therapy is based on a core belief that many people who need PT require a more personalized approach and more time and attention per session than is really possible in a lot of traditional PT practices. I'm not the typical PT mill where you're going to come in, we're going to do a bunch of exercises, maybe get some hands-on treatment, and then I'm off to the next person. I spend time getting to know my clients, their backgrounds, their goals, how they live, use and move their bodies. My main focus is working with the fascia that impacts like tightness and restrictions related to injuries, because fascia covers each muscle, nerve, bone, and even arteries and veins. And this fascia can get sticky and also impact from like scars from surgery or like pregnancy and other injuries. So I work with a wide range of clients, and really the people who seek me out are looking to be heard and taken seriously, since a variety of my clients deal with a lot of chronic pain issues. For example, I've had patients who have, say, seen an orthopedic doctor. They're like, oh, you just have mild knee pain. Maybe hand them some exercises and say, here's a list of PTs you can go see, without really seeing how this pain has like impacted this person's view of themselves as, say, maybe a really experienced bike rider, or that, they love hiking and now, this brings them joy, and now it's difficult for them to do that activity, or they have to give up on that activity, or feel that they're a fear that they're going to be having to give up on that activity. I also have some expertise in rare disorders such as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is definitely people who go through pregnancy that can have a lot of issues after, just because of laxity and imbalances. Because Ehlers-Danlos syndrome affects connective tissue integrity. I also work with people with fibromyalgia, lupus, SI joint disorders, and generally a lot of my patients have multiple chronic disorders. So I like complex patients. I find that I've become a lot of families' go-to PT here, especially in Acton, where I work. So I feel that parenthood is a spectrum. I've had, like new mom who is dealing with all the changes of pregnancy, to the mom with experience who wants to feel better in their body. I also have I also have grandparents who are helping to take care of the grandkids and want to be able to move without pain, like getting on and off the floor and such. I also have the weekend warrior dads that are trying to keep up with a sport that they want to stay in or return to a sport, but a chronic injury has been like holding them back. I focus on making sure the exercises I provide my clients are going to fit into their schedule, are beneficial, and don't feel like a waste of time. I have a big focus on hands-on treatment. So when my clients are in to see me, I'm doing the hands-on treatment that they really can't do themselves. This hands-on treatment may include ultrasound, myofascial tissue work, postural education, and a variety of other modalities that I have and will go over with people. I also will we'll review people's exercises that I give them, but we're not going to be like repeating a bunch of exercise routines when you come in, when you really want that one-on-one time, doing hands-on stuff, unless you really need to go through your routine again. So I encourage people to connect with me if they've had a recent injury that they may have questions about and what to do next. I also encourage you to connect with me when the approach you've been participating in to heal an injury, whether you're self-prescribed or somewhere else, is not progressing or changing and you need maybe some more help. And it's great to connect if you live a very highly active lifestyle and you're interested in injury prevention. So the best way to contact me would be either via my email or even by text messaging me, which is the phone number that you will find on my website. But I also allow for online booking through my website, where you can even get more information about my practice and like what insurance is and costs and everything is. So that is where I'd say is the best place to go, is my website. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's awesome to meet you. One thing when you were talking that I remembered is when I was going through the postpartum period, I remember being like, do I need a PT? And I had to physically ask that question. And the doctor, my OB, was just like, maybe, like it's not something that they always advertise, which kind of stinks. So I'm really hoping that what comes out of today's discussion for any of the service providers really is, if you hear something that is resonating with you and you feel like your body might need something like that, it does not hurt to reach out and try to investigate if something like this could help you. And it really, a lot of times this is covered by insurance too. So it's worth really investigating so that your body can move and grow as it needs to throughout the whole period. So thank you so much for sharing. Our next guest is Shari Schultz. She's actually an occupational therapist, which is different. And I wanted to bring her on to talk about it because she can help with your kids and as you grow in your family life. So I wanted to bring her in and chat. Shari.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. So like Kira said, I'm Shari Schultz. I am a private practice pediatric OT. I'm also a Wayland mom to a 7-month-old. So I will be reaching out to every single one of you. You guys are all phenomenal, and I'm really excited to meet you all. So my job as a pediatric OT is really to help children do their occupations of being a kid. So that would be being a member of a family unit, being a friend, being a peer, just growing and developing, and being a student. And so I work with children of all ages. So like 0 all the way up to high school ages, and also all abilities. So whether it's an official developmental diagnosis of a disability, or just there's overall some questions and you could just use some extra support. And really the goal of occupational therapy is to support a child's development and their successful performance of their daily activities. So I offer individual sessions as well as parental support. And then I also can do consultations to school systems and to daycare providers to help them better support your child in that environment. And I'm happy to work with children in the setting that's most convenient for you guys. So whether that is your home, and a school or after school program, at a daycare, or even out in the community. So for example, if your child's having a hard time navigating the playground, let's go there. Let's work there and see how they're managing that. The environment that somebody's performing their activities in has such a huge impact on their success. So it's really important to see them performing the activities in the context that they are doing them in. So some of the areas that I address is for children who have challenges with just performing their daily life activities. So such as getting dressed, brushing their teeth, and even just managing their utensils when they're eating. I also work with children who are struggling with social interactions and their overall play skills. And also with children who are having challenges meeting their developmental milestones. I work with children who are having difficulties with their school performance and completing their educational tasks. So this could be their handwriting, their cutting, their drawing skills, just using the school tools like the little math manipulatives, as well as just keeping themselves overall organized and that executive functioning that they need to get throughout their day. And then I also work a lot with self-regulation and helping children have appropriate responses to the situations that arise throughout their day, or helping them be more comfortable in various environments, whether that's, being okay in a really loud, noisy gym, or, in the busy grocery store, or helping them be able to manage being calm and quiet in a setting like a library. And so in addition to private practice, I do work in a public school system. So I have a lot of knowledge about the special education and IEP process. So I'm happy to answer questions about that. And I also know a lot about parents' special education rights. So I'm happy to talk to people about that as well. Now, I don't officially work, or I don't work in the state's early intervention program, but I think that it's a really phenomenal resource that I want to make sure parents are aware of. It's a free state-run program for babies that are 0 through 3 years old. It provides support for children who have developmental disabilities or who are at risk for developmental disabilities. It allows the child to have access to services from an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, a speech and language pathologist, developmental specialists, and social workers. And they provide home visits, or you also can go to group sessions, group activities at their centers. And in terms of getting referred to EI, anyone can refer a child. So typically it is like a pediatrician, but you as a parent can absolutely refer your child as well if you have concerns, as well as daycare providers. They too can go. You can Google early intervention Massachusetts and then put in your area, and they can connect you to the agencies that service your town. So then once a child does turn 3 and they age out of early intervention, then they transition to receiving services from the public school system. So really, I'd love to connect with anyone if you have any questions about your child, their development. Often you might see your child struggling and you don't know, how can I help them? Is this an issue? Is it a problem? So that I'm more than happy, to speak to anyone and help kind of problem solve that together. So you can reach me through email or through calling me.
That's amazing, Shari. It's so
thanks.
OT was not on my radar until I had my daughter, and we went through the whole process of it, and it really blew my mind. Some of the resources that as a parent you can educate parents with, as well as teaching the kids. So it's something is totally worth reaching out to you. If you have any questions about what's going on with your kid, you can probably troubleshoot anything and really direct them where they need to go.
Super fun.
It's awesome. I know you get to play all day.
Kids.
Yeah, they don't not like you at all. You do all the fun stuff. It's great. Is there an age range that you work with typically?
Me personally, I typically will work to like the 2 up through high school.
Oh, wow.
I have experience with the 0 to 2, but typically I feel like going to early intervention is the best place to start to get services there. And then if you feel like you need more support, then absolutely reach out.
Oh, that's so helpful. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
tonight. It's nice to meet
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay, so our next guest is going to be Dawn Ellis of Dawn Ellis Groups. This is going to start our group support system chat, and I think we have some wonderful people in this groups, this section, that definitely have multiple different facets to what they offer, and I'm excited to get to know everyone. So Dawn, if you're here, can you step in?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Thanks so much for putting this together. And it's so nice to see some familiar faces and then just to hear about other people's services. It's great. I love it. So I am a licensed clinical social worker. I've been practicing for 26 years. And the past 11 years, I've specifically worked in maternal mental health doing support groups. I have a private practice and it is pretty much just focused on support groups. So even through the pandemic, I met in person. We met outside. We met outside with masks when people didn't have vaccines yet. We met outside in the snow because women, they need each other that much. And so people were dedicated to coming out as long as it wasn't freezing, they would come out with their babies and we would meet together. And now, fortunately, we're meeting in person again and inside. Most of the babies in my groups are under 6 months. So it does make moms feel more comfortable to wear masks in my group. So we are wearing masks in the groups. I teach first-time pregnancy support groups, which starts in the second trimester. And then people can follow on with me in the first-time mom support groups. I separate first-time mom support groups from subsequent births because people with more than one kid want to talk about their toddler and their new mom support groups and what's going on with their toddler and not so much about their baby. So the topics are very specific. And then from there, I do combine groups once they're over 3 months, which is actually really a nice mix to have first-time moms, second-time moms, third-time moms all together helping each other as their kids are from 3 months to crawling and like kind of navigating some of the OT stuff that you've talked about or navigating starting feeding and talking about all of those things. In addition to at that age, I'm adding in I'm introducing in like finger plays and songs and like more enrichment stuff that moms can do with their babies, but then also still the support piece. In addition to that, I do weekly free stroller meetups for the community. I do free pregnancy meetups. I do events like social events for people to be able to come to. And I'm also a Reiki master as well. And I do a monthly mom and baby Reiki workshop, which is really lovely. So there's a bunch of different ways for people to connect. My groups are focused on supporting people, providing education, and a big part is creating community and a strong community so that people really are, that's why I have all these other social events so that they're meeting outside of my groups socially and creating community. And like I'm usually after a group, I'm like, where are you going for lunch next? Like, so they can really do those hard things. Like the first time you have to breastfeed in public, like safety in numbers. The first time, they're the ones going home being like, honey, I think we can go out to lunch with our baby. Like, and they're like, what? Like they get to kind of be the leader because they've done some of these really difficult things with a group of other women. So, I mean, I love group work and I love working with women. So it's so fun and it's such an honor, and it's so wonderful to be able to see how each person, even if they're their first time mom, is an expert in their own way. And when you get a community of women together, how much they really can help each other and how much they really can teach each other and how confident they can start to feel, even if they have, you know, really no idea, like they feel like they have no idea. They have so much information. Yeah, I just think that there's a magic. There's a specific kind of magic that happens in groups. My groups are in Needham. I will do on occasion, I have done, and I did do it through the pandemic, I have done groups on Zoom, but I do like to do almost all of my groups in person, and they are, like I said, they're in Needham. All of my information is going to be in the resource guide. So you can look up my Instagram information, my Facebook stuff, my website, and my schedule is all posted on there. But if people have questions or just questions about getting linked to resources and things in the area, I'm always happy just to chat with people. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Dawn. You're just an incredible resource. And I've been following you along on Instagram for a while now. And it's just amazing the amount of information you're putting out there and events that you are creating in the safe space for people to start getting out. So it's such an important thing to do. And it's wonderful to know that there's more community being built as we speak. So thank you for bringing that and keeping that alive during all of this wild time.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you. Our next guest couldn't join us live tonight, but she has submitted a video recording that she wanted to submit so that you could all get to meet her. Her name is Hillary Witcher. She is a postpartum doula, a birth doula, a parent educator, and support group facilitator here in the Boston metro area. She's the founder of New Family Needs, and she is going to introduce herself. Welcome, Hillary.
Hi there. I'm Hillary. I'm a certified postpartum doula, a trained birth doula, a parent educator, a new parent group leader, and a breastfeeding specialist. I absolutely love helping others to build community, especially new parents. When I was a new mom a long time ago, I attended a new parent group and it absolutely saved my life. There is nothing like making friends with people who totally understand what you're going through, and nobody understands better than other people who have newborns and are potentially up all night as well. I'm really passionate about supporting parents of newborns one-on-one through teaching. I teach in group sessions, doing parent support groups, and also as a postpartum doula. I run parent group series about every 2 months or so. They run for about 7 weeks. We meet once a week. We meet in person in Needham. Sometimes we'll meet virtually if necessary, depending on how things are going in the world. These groups are amazing. I always start a text chain with the group, and I often wake up in the morning to 50 texts from one of my groups, and it's so much fun. Right now, a lot of my groups from last year are celebrating first birthdays with each other, with their babies. I also love to run special events and workshops. So workshops might be teaching about baby-led weaning or CPR, teaching about baby wearing, baby sign language. I do special events with local companies as well, where we make fun special pottery for your babies. You can put their footprint on them, baby clothing exchanges, and on and on and on. So I just love doing all of this. I love bringing people together. I love supporting community. And I would love for you to check out my website. It's newfamilyneeds.com, and just find if there's a place that fits for you. I'd love to meet you. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, so next up, we've got a doula. You ready for this? So Emily Villatoro is going to be here from Every Bit of Love Doula Support. Emily, are you in here?
So sorry.
We got you, Carlos. You look like a very cute Carlos.
Oh my God, of course. Like the one night I have all the technical problems and he's not even home to help me. So I'm so sorry. I'm not Carlos. I'm Emily. And I'm so excited to be here. I am a trained birth doula and just thrilled to be here tonight on this forum. And Kira, thank you so much for bringing us all together, because for me, making all these connections with all of you who work hard supporting the new parents truly helps me as a doula, because then I have all these wonderful references to help pass along to my clients. So I just feel like it's such a win-win. And it's World Doula Week, so couldn't have planned it better. So yes. And one of the first things that I actually did 9 years ago when we moved here was become a member of the WCPA. So I got to meet some super cool moms through that, helped me through some challenging toddler years. And so my husband and I have 3 boys who are 14, 12, and 6. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 14 years. It sounds so crazy to say that's gone by so quickly, and I've loved it so much, but I'm just so thrilled to just take my love of birth and pregnancy and just babies and just be able to now start to support families through their birth journey. I completed my birth doula training just last year with Btone International. So it was just such a life-changing experience for me. I'm just like so thrilled about it, and just wanted to throw it out there. A lot of people don't actually know what a birth doula is. I'm just going to be like a nerd and say like the definition that Btone gives, which is it's a trained professional who provides continuous physical, emotional, and informational support to their client before, during, and shortly after childbirth. So in other words, it's just a doula can be like your constant source of support, and there's no shift changes along the way. Like there's somebody that's going to just be there for you, so you can share your fears and anxieties with them, and we can help you work through them and find a place where you're more calm and focused. We're somebody that like can assist you with all the comfort measures, which are just so many and so awesome to like work through, such as like massage and position changes. I know Melissa, I think, mentioned spinning babies. I'm so interested in, so I can't wait to continue like my education in that, because I just want to like learn all of it. I'm just in the beginning phases, so I'm just a little like excited, but I'm going to get there eventually. So we also, as doulas, we will provide all the evidence-based research for you along the way. So if you have questions or situations that come up, we can help, dig that out and help you figure out what's best for you. Doulas do a lot of advocating. We help to ensure that your wishes and your birth preferences are respected. It's a really big one. We support the partners. We help them feel more involved in the childbirth process, showing them like hands-on comfort measures and working together to help mom just have the best birth experience possible. We can also help with initial breastfeeding support. Research shows that having a doula helps reduce interventions. Moms are less likely to need Pitocin, less likely to have a cesarean, less likely to have any pain medication, and more likely to rate their childbirth experience positively. So with all that being said, I started my business, Every Bit of Love Doula Support. I really look forward to helping more families feel loved and supported through their birthing experience. So even as our memories fade and we grow older, a woman's memory of her birth will always remain. I hope to be a calming and reassuring presence in a mother's life that will keep her feeling towards her birth a positive and joyful one. One where she feels seen, heard, respected, and supported. So please feel free to just reach out to me with any questions. And I have free consultations, because it's just really important to have a connection with your doula and just feel just a really personal connection before you invite anybody onto your birth team. And you can find all my services on my website. I do offer discounts for WCPA members, as well as teachers and single moms and repeat clients. And just thank you so much for having me tonight. It's exciting to start out my doula career in such a loving Wayland community. I love it. Thank you.
It's so fun to meet you. I'm glad to know you're here. No worries. It's like learning this whole Zoom, even when we've all been doing it for so long, it's still tough. So don't worry about it. Thank you so much for explaining what a birth doula is and how it can be beneficial. And really it does. You won't forget that birth experience no matter what happens. So it's nice if it can be a wonderful one. So lovely to meet you. And I hope people start connecting with you soon. Our next guest is going to help us learn about some sleep, which is something I struggle with over here. So it'll be really great to meet a sleep expert over here. And she's also a doula, I believe. So I might have gotten that wrong. So we'll find out when we talk to Laurel Siegel from the Seagull Nest.
Hi, I'm Laurel Siegel. Oh no, my camera just went crazy. I am a postpartum doula, but I don't really practice. I do one overnight a week. But I am a pediatric sleep consultant, a postpartum doula, a professional nanny, and a child passenger safety technician. I'm also the mom, I'm a stepmom to 14-year-old twin girls and the non-gestational parent to a 15-year-old, a 15-month-old little guy. I work primarily doing sleep consulting remotely with families that from birth through age 5. I really enjoy working with families that have newborns so that I can help them to establish healthy sleep habits for mom, dad, baby, partner, for the entire family. Establishing healthy sleep from the very beginning can help to avoid some of the perinatal mental health issues, because mental health really starts with sleep. And I work directly with the parents to create and alleviate different behaviors that are healthy for sleep. But also my job isn't, I wish I were a magician, but because people just assume that I can magically fix problems. We have to work together to create a lot of the bad habits that have been created. And I do a lot of behavior management and a lot of parent coaching. Like I said, my areas of expertise really are the newborn age and toddlerhood. I really enjoy making visuals and working directly, well, indirectly, with families with children of every age. I've worked with singletons through high number multiples, high order multiples. I support everybody on virtually. I don't have time to do in person at this point. I would love to, I just can't. I get a lot of families reaching out to me around week 6, because week 6 to week 9 in life are really challenging. And there's a really big growth spurt around week 9. Around week 6. And that is when sleep tends to go haywire in the newborn and parents tend to lose their minds. So if parents can reach out to me before week 6, we can establish healthy sleep habits from the beginning, and we don't have to try and fix what's already happened. We want you to sleep from the beginning. We don't want you to, I get a lot of crisis calls because parents want me to be able to fix them immediately. And frankly, I have to write the plan. I have kids. I work a full-time job. I can't just drop everything and write a plan for you and help you to do it right then. So as much as I want to help everybody, I feel for them, I need time to prepare. And so knowing that you're having a baby or you have a child that may or may not have sleep challenges, start from the beginning and create a healthy foundation so that you don't have to fix challenges in the future. You just don't create the challenges. And I know it's easier said than done, but I love supporting families and I am really glad to be here and I appreciate the opportunity. And you can reach out to me through my website, and I know I'm in the resource list as well.
Thank you so much. Yes, it sounds like you know exactly what parents are going through on all different levels. So it's really great to highlight that 6 weeks time. My sister is going through that right now. And I'm like, well,
it's hard.
It's not you, it's everybody. So there's help. Really is. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next we're going to have Madison Fugere, or Fugere. You can help me with your name. She's from Serene Moments. She's a doula and sleep consultant as well. And we'd love to learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so I'm Madison. I am super excited to be here as well. If you can't tell, I feel like that's a common theme with all of us. But yeah, so I'm a DONA certified postpartum doula, as well as a certified sleep consultant. I also do virtual sleep consulting like Laurel did. We both graduated from the same program, so we have a lot of the same methods. And one thing I really wanted to mention about sleep consulting in general is that there is, I feel like, such a horrible stigma surrounding sleep consulting. And to be honest, if you're finding somebody that is a sleep consultant that is meeting you where you're at, and you're finding a sleep consultant that is going to bring a method that works well for your family to the table, then it simply shouldn't be this cried out method if that's not what you want to do. It doesn't mean that you're traumatizing your child. I would be happy to share articles with anybody that is worried about traumatizing their children. In fact, being so sleep deprived and exhausted is in turn making you not have the energy and even the patience to be able to deal with and to make memories with your child. And that's even more traumatizing. So when it comes to sleep, like Laurel said, same kind of idea that she does. I do virtual support. If there is in-person support on rare cases, I will do that because I'm also a certified postpartum doula. So I work daytime shifts as well as overnight shifts. There are a handful of postpartum doulas in the area. A majority of them work just daytime stuff. So I do often have a lot more overnight clients. For those of y'all who have no idea what postpartum work is, because prior to finding out myself, I didn't even know that it was a job. So it's literally anything that I can do to alleviate things from your plate and make you feel supported and confident as a parent. So that includes right when you come home from birth, I might be coming into your home. That might include supporting you while you're at the hospital postpartum. If you have another child, I've gone to the hospital while the parent has to go home to the other child. I've done that. But all of these sessions with clients, especially during the daytime, are different from not only client to client, but they're different from session to session. So some of the different types of support that I might provide include newborn care and education, teaching you how to do that first bath, which can be insanely stressful. Even if you've done it before, there's new tips and tricks out there that I'm sure that you have no idea about. So things like that, like I said, random tips and tricks when it comes to maybe swaddling baby or little things that you can do differently when you're changing their diaper to avoid that dreaded blowout. All of these little types of things that come with all of the tips and tricks for newborn education. We also have certification. A part of the certification program includes education on breastfeeding. So I'm able to help identify a proper latch. If you're looking for proper bottles, helping you figure out that, properly sizing you for flanges. And if there's things that go beyond that, then being able to help you find resources like IBCLCs and lactation consultants to help you through that. And then there's also the mental health side of it, as why we're all here. Being able to talk through your emotions, if that be the current emotion you're feeling, or working through, the birth that you just had. And again, referring out if there's something that I'm unable to help with. There's so much more to it. Like I said, anything that takes stress off of your plate. So I do meal preparation, I'm doing baby laundry, I'm doing house cleaning, I'm doing legitimately anything that you need can be done. So yes, like I said, that's daytime. Overnight support depends if you're exclusively breastfeeding or you're breastfeeding and pumping or you're doing formula. No matter what your method of feeding is, you are able to have an overnight doula. So if you want to head over to my website, you can book a free consultation call for sleep or for postpartum. My postpartum packages, I can chat with you guys about on those calls. And then the last two things that I also offer is a membership program. I'm a Framingham State grad, and I got a graduate degree, I got my degree in child and family studies, and then I managed a daycare in Andover that had 240 children at it. So I have a lot of education when it comes to just children in general and answering questions. So a lot of my past clients will sign up for my membership, but if you also are just struggling with toddlerhood or a sleep regression or some sort of developmental milestone and you just need extra support, and sometimes going to Google can only make things worse because you can literally find an answer to anything that you want. But it's hard to know what's right and what's wrong. So my membership is $30 a month. If you message me and tell me you found me through here, you'll get a discount. You get a members only Zoom call for once a month. You get a newsletter on a specific topic every month, and you get access to messaging me all month. And I also just started a podcast called The Postpartum Plan. We'll all be having similar kind of types of people like are on this call on there to talk about lots of different topics. So you can find me over there too. So I talked really quickly. I hope you all got all of that, but thank you for having me.
You're an incredible resource. Thank you so much. It's amazing. Like, I'm glad that you were able to share with us a little bit about what a postpartum doula can do too, and how this whole sleep thing can work. It's like, there is no one size fits all, but it's also helpful to really know what to look for out there. And you're so darn right about that, Google. You can really get it to say whatever you need.
Oh my gosh, literally. You get any point of view you want. It's so hard to weed through it, and the sleep deprivation makes it even harder.
Yeah. No. So thank you so much for being here. Our next guest is going to be Jessica Petrus. She's from the Burgeoning Bud. She's also a sleep consultant and postpartum doula, and an incredible resource that I want to welcome on to here. I might have said your name wrong too, so you can help if I mess that up too.
Oh, you were right. Yeah, Jessica Petrus. Very well. Very good. Hi, I am Jess Petrus, Aird, and I do own Burgeoning Bud, postpartum doula and pediatric sleep consulting. I am a mom of 3 myself, 5 and under. So I always tell my clients I'm walking that path with them, the joys and the challenges every day. But I am very grateful for the training that I went on to get after I had my 3rd child, both as a postpartum doula and as a pediatric sleep consultant. As I tell my clients too, there are things now that I wish I had known then, and now on the professional end, I'm able to help bring that clarity to my clients and help them hopefully not have some of the larger challenges that I had to endure when my kids were younger and I knew less then. So yeah, I just really enjoy helping families. I mean, I love meeting them where they are. I love listening to their concerns. And I want them to feel like the time that we've spent together, whether it's been virtually through my work as a sleep consultant or in person as a postpartum doula, that they just feel more confident and grounded in themselves and their parenting skills. There's no one right way to parent. There is a right way that for them. And I want them to start to get that glimmer of what that may look like during our time together. So like many of us here today, we all have so many different talents and interests, and it's incredible just listening to the variety of offerings that we have here in the Boston Metro West area. It's really awesome. Today, I'm going to mainly focus on the offerings that I do for sleep. That is where I am mainly focusing on more so now, and I would say also what a lot of people my clients that come to me are looking for is the specific guidance on sleep. Before I did work in this field, I have a degree in education. I have a professional music background. I also teach some mindfulness and yoga to children. And so it's all kind of fused into the work that I do now, supporting families, especially as a sleep consultant. And the biggest thing that I tell families is that we just want to help your child learn how to find their calm. And whether that is them being calm as a newborn, calm as an infant, calm as a toddler, calm as a preschooler, or even a little bit older, you can't fall asleep until you have calm. And for a lot of us, even as adults, I know we have a hard time finding that. And if we can't find it ourselves, it's really hard to teach to our children. And our children also pick up on the energy of us. So I take that approach a lot in my work with my families. And like I said, I really believe that, and I see it in my work, that babies can learn this at any age. We just have to kind of figure out what are some of the obstacles that are standing in their way at that time. It could be, say, I have a newborn client who really only wants to be held and really refuses to go down into their crib or into their bassinet. It could be an infant or toddler who, parents have tried some sleep training on their own and it really didn't go very well. And so now they're afraid their child's going to cry all of the time. It could be a toddler or preschooler who's in their own bed and refuses to stay in their bed at night and keeps coming out to the mom and dad's room all of the time. So we have to help them feel that confidence, find that calm, help them understand that where they are is a perfectly safe place to be, and to build from there. So I kind of outlined, the different kinds of clients that I might see, people that are with newborns up through preschool generally, although I would probably consider working with older students as well, as my other background as a musician is in education, and I'm certified K-12 with that. So I've worked with a lot of children. My favorite clients to work with are really those who are really just dedicated to learning more about their child through the sleep training process, who are willing to reflect and dig into their fears about setting healthy boundaries for their children, as a lot of what sleep training is, especially for older children, is just learning how to set boundaries and stick to them and be okay with those boundaries, and who really value giving their child the gift of establishing healthy, independent sleep habits. So if families are interested in getting to know more about me, they can definitely find me on my website, www.versioningbud.com. And I also run a Facebook group called Sleep Well, Eat Well, Be Well, Versioning Bud Postpartum. Several of my colleagues here tonight are actually already on that. It's a wonderful resource. We share tips, people pose questions, and you can learn a little bit more about me and my style. So thank you so much.
Oh, wonderful. Will you share, I don't know if I put that in the resource guide, but I want to add that before we send it out there. So that Facebook group sounds great. But
Sure.
Wonderful to meet you. I don't know how you do it with 5 on or 3 under 5 or whatever. Like I can't even do the math at this hour, but you're doing great. Thank you so much for being here. Our next guest is we're going to move on into the lactation and feeding consultant side of business here. So we've got Michelle Stolo from Birth on here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she can do to help her clients out.
All right. Thank you so much, Kira. I'm also excited to be here. I'm Michelle Stolo. I'm a lactation consultant, international board certified lactation consultant. I've been in private practice for about 20 years. And I have 3 kids of my own who are now all in their 20s, which is crazy. I also have a master's degree in child development, so I have a lot of background with that too. I love helping new families. I love doing home visits. I can do virtual, but I really prefer to do the home visits. My radius is all the way from Boston to Worcester, so Wayland's definitely in that area, and all of Metro West. And a lot of people don't know that most health insurance in Massachusetts actually fully covers lactation. So most people can have home visits without having to pay for it up front, pay for it up front, but get reimbursed for most people. A few insurance companies require you to see someone who's in network. So anyone who reaches out to me, I help them find someone who is in network with their lactation, with their insurance. Or I will see them, or I will refer them on to somebody else if I am busy and can't see them. So once you reach me, you're going to get connected with someone who has availability. And if I don't take your insurance, I'll find you someone who does, or I'll refer you to resources who can take your insurance. I can help with any feeding issues, breastfeeding, bottle feeding, getting comfortable with positions, any of the struggles that come along with breastfeeding, can help with any of those. I like to focus on helping people learn how to calm and soothe their baby, because I think that that's something that a lot of people really struggle with, and figuring out why the baby is fussing. I do a lot of helping people troubleshoot that, know when the baby's hungry, know when they just need to be held, know when they need to be helped to get some gas out. So that's something that I really focus on. Work with babies of any age and families with any challenges that they might be having. I also do prenatal visits. So if you want help during pregnancy, getting off to a great start, or troubleshooting what happened with a first child, we can do that. And you can reach me through my website. I happy to answer any questions by text or by email if anyone has any questions about insurance coverage or what might be covered in a visit. My visits are usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And I love being there to help people get off to a great start and then manage any challenges that come up along the way.
It's so helpful. I had lactation consultants all the time throughout my different childbirths, and it was invaluable, the experience of having someone there physically showing you how to move your body, how to set your space up, and really helping you identify those cues. So I think that's really important that you told people about that service. So thank you. Thank you. Our next guest is going to be Melanie Venuti from MV Breastfeeding Support. So she's going to tell us what she does for her clients, but probably in a similar vein, but a little different. It's nice to see you, Melanie. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So awesome. So it's a little bit past my bedtime, so I hope my brain still works. But my name's Melanie Venuti. Just like Michelle, I'm an internationally board certified lactation consultant, and I'm also a pediatric nutritionist. I started my career working in a community nutrition program with the Department of Public Health called the WIC program, which is a nutrition education program for low-income families with children under 5 years old. Right before having my own kids, I have 2 boys. I have an 8 and a 6-year-old. I decided to go into private practice and focus solely on lactation. So currently I am offering both private practice, in-home services, as well as telemedicine. So I do both in-home consults right in the comfort of the family's homes, bedrooms, living rooms, whatever is comfortable for them, but also am leaving the decision up to families who aren't comfortable with that and doing Zoom visits as well. So I do, of course, prefer to be in people's homes, but telehealth works too when necessary. I work in all aspects of feeding difficulties, including latch issues, low milk supply, growth issues, families that are supplementing, oral anomalies, but also with the background in nutrition. I also often work with babies when they're transitioning to solids or when families are weaning when they're ready and transitioning them over to regular milk of their choice. I'm really passionate about creating realistic expectations. I feel like that's a phrase I say in almost every single one of my consults is, let's think about the realistic expectations of this. And I really feel like setting parents up for success on reaching their goals and their goals only, is what's going to allow for them to advocate for themselves, feel heard, feel supported. And it kind of takes the pressure off them a little bit. So, as a lactation consultant, people often will think, they're going to come in and tell me I have to breastfeed and I have to do X, Y, and Z, but that's not our job. Our job is to support you and support your goals. And if your goals include formula, that's fine with me. That's not my job to tell you what to do. So I really feel strongly about, the fact that we're there to advocate for you. A side note, I'm also the president-elect of the Massachusetts Lactation Consultants Association. So I did want to give them a little plug tonight too, if that's okay. The MILCA is a support and advocacy program for the IBCLCs and also the support professionals of Massachusetts. Surprisingly, the lactation field is actually a pretty new field. It was the IBCLC, who are the people that regulate the board certification, was really only invented, so to speak, in the 80s. So we're a fairly new career. So there's still a lot to be done with professional recognition, insurance coverage, reimbursement for lactation care, and also making sure that everybody has access to quality lactation care. Because, as Michelle was saying a minute ago, insurance does reimburse for our services, but it is an out-of-pocket initial cost for families. So when we think about those families that maybe don't have that initial out-of-pocket fee, unfortunately, those families do fall through the cracks. So one of our missions is to really kind of, offer quality lactation care to everybody. So with that said, families can reach out to me through my website. I live in Dedham, but I service really the greater Boston area, the surrounding suburbs. So I do travel, of course, within a 45-minute to an hour radius. And like I said, I'm offering both in-home visits and telemedicine. And I'm just so happy to see all these people here tonight with the same mission as myself. So thank you so much again for having me.
We're so lucky to have you. Thank you so much. It's really important to just really see all aspects of it. And I had one question for you, our feeding specialist. Is there like a time frame when you really are most likely to see clients? Is there a certain age range that the babies are, or are you helping people transition from the say breastfeeding to formula feeding and then on to eating foods, like the real foods?
Yeah. So I would say, and Michelle, feel free to pipe up too, but I would say that it varies widely. You know, some weeks I might only be seeing babies that are under 2 weeks old. Other weeks I might be working with a family who has a 15-month-old and wants to wean. Sometimes we're working with families when they're transitioning back to work and having to pump or create a realistic pumping routine for them. So it's really over the course of the first, let's say, 2 years of an infant's life or a child's life. But I would say on average, most of my babies are on the younger side, but I really love when I get to see babies that are developmentally are smiling and cooing and chatting with us too. So I love doing that.
That makes sense. Thank you. Next in the lineup is registered dietitian Janelle Funk. She couldn't be here today, but she did submit a pre-recorded message to introduce herself. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Janelle Funk, and I'm a registered dietitian and lactation specialist in Natick, Massachusetts. I'm also a mom of 3. I have a private practice where I work with moms and women at all stages of life, but I love working with moms in the postpartum period to help with feeding struggles, whether it's struggles feeding yourself or struggles feeding your baby. If you have hormonal changes or health concerns that cropped up in the postpartum period, or if you have older children and you're just struggling with how to feed your family and meal planning, or maybe you're dealing with picky eating. I also address chronic issues such as thyroid health and PCOS, and I love working with women in intuitive eating and diet recovery. I take most insurance companies, which means oftentimes nutrition services are covered completely or have a minor copay. I accept Always, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, United Healthcare, and Harvard Pilgrim. I work via telehealth and in person in my office in Natick, and I would love to hear from you. So you can check out my website. It's eatwellwithjanelle.com.
Our next guest is going to be Amanda Hem from Baby Steps Postpartum. She's a parental leave coach, and she's helping parents figure out the plan for navigating how the heck to have kids in this world and also still work. So let's welcome her here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I just joined in because, as you will all learn, when you're a mom, you do crazy things like volunteer to chaperone your kid's trip to Disney. So thank you for having me. I am, as Kiara said, a parental leave coach and a new parent transition coach. So I work with parents who are expecting, so usually starting around the 3rd trimester, and help them to make those plans at work and at home. That's going to give them the confidence that they can step away from work and feel really good about that transition. Support them to have a strong foundation while they are at home with the baby, and then help with the adjustment back to work. And sometimes, you know, the decision might be how priorities are changing, or your roles and your responsibilities, how your routines are changing. A lot of times over parental leave, you might find that your job has changed, your responsibilities have changed, and I can help parents navigate that whole the whole transition period. And I do work with dads and moms and all partners who are impacted by the transition.
It's such a helpful thing that I didn't know existed, and I think can be such a useful resource for people to like really understand that process. Amanda, I was just sending the link out, so I sort of zoned and I'm so tired, so my brain isn't working. But did you explain like your background a little bit, like how you're very connected in this world with like educating different companies and people, connecting people? So you're a great resource.
Yeah, sure. So I started in the perinatal world as a postpartum doula and a lactation educator, and I ran new moms groups. And pretty quickly I realized that it was the going back to work that a lot of people were not prepared for. They just didn't have any preparation. They hadn't thought through that process at all. And then it hit them like a brick wall. And so about 4 years ago, I started working with a colleague of mine, and we went to companies and we started working with companies and doing workshops and community building groups to talk to managers and new parents about what to expect and give them some tips and tricks to make this a little bit more simple, and to consult with some of the HR about what their policies and practices should be and how they can start to integrate that into their culture. And so while I do work with families, I also work still with HR and with companies to bring this as a benefit to some of their employees.
It's so helpful. Well, thank you so much for making it here after Disney exploring or like planning what your life is going to be like. So we stayed on, we hit the 0 mark, and we're still here. So this is exciting. It looks like we're still recording. And Elaine, if this does get messed up, I'll just interview you separately. But I think everyone here can have the chance to actually meet you and learn about what you do. Elaine, is it Freitas or Fritas? I'm like the worst at this. And she'll tell us.
Elaine Freitas.
Oh,
yes.
You say it even better, way prettier. So she's but I'll let you take it for us.
Sorry, I am Brazilian, so Freitas is a Portuguese name and we speak Portuguese, just to clarify that. We are the only country that does not speak Spanish. Just to give a little bit of my background, I came here in 2000 with my husband and my 3-month-old daughter. And it was a big transition. So postpartum for me, it was hard, tough. And I am passionate about motherhood because to me, my 2 pregnancy, I have 2 kids. It was wonderful and divine. And I always felt like it was amazing. And seeing all the trouble and what people were living, I always thought that my friend would even tell me I was out of this world. So I decided, so as a photographer, I've been a photographer for 14 years, and I photo shoot a birth, and I love the experience. And I was learning about doula, and I became a doula 4 years ago, and I found my tribe. I was like, oh my gosh, those are my people. And I love it just to be around people that talk about birth and pregnancy. And being a maternity and a newborn photographer, I just was around them. And it's amazing. And I could talk forever, but I know everybody's tired, so I'll be short. And just to tell a little bit, and I love Heather O'Brien for telling that self-care also is being photograph yourself and your family. I love that. And I was like, oh, I feel that way. And so as a maternity and newborn photographer, I had moms that didn't feel well, but they wanted to leave a legacy for their baby. But after I photo shoot them, they were like, oh, I haven't seen me in that way. And for me, it was a boost of their confidence. And having a maternity photo shoot, it's so important. It brings out a feeling that it's not there for most people. And so that is my mission, working as a photographer, giving them, the woman, a boost for their body, their divine body, because I feel like it's divine. And having a photo of you and the love and leave a legacy for your baby to see later. And I saw that experience myself, because when my daughter was 5 and she saw a photo of me, she was like, oh, mommy, I was in your belly. So it's like that, the childhood being realized how much love you have for your baby. So with that being said, being a birth doula, postpartum doula, a newborn photographer, and, working with moms and family and women, I am expanding my business. So I have a studio in my house, but with the pandemic, it was hard for people to come to my house because of all the COVID and all of that. Next, month, next week, April 1st, I am having a space in Concord really designed for mothers and babies. So I will have a room to breastfeed and change. Everything's going to be clean, bright, calm, a place that will feel safe, comfortable. There is an elevator. So I was detailing finding a place that would be something that would go there and be okay to be photographed, and for the newborn session too. So watch out my website. I'll be posting if you follow me on Instagram. This is new. Everything happened so fast. I thought it was going to take like a whole year to find a place, and I took the jump. So I'll be having a studio just for women, motherhood, babies, and families. So watch out for that. And I am thrilled to hear all of this, and I feel like the community around motherhood is amazing. So thank you so much for inviting me, and I hope I can be in contact with other people and other resource. And thank you. I won't take too long, so everybody can go to sleep.
Oh, you're amazing. You hung in there all the way to the end, and we saved the best for last there. That was so wonderful. Just to bring it all together, but right from the very beginning with Heather really pulling all of our resources together and then bringing you up. You've actually photographed 2 of our members here, and you've taken beautiful work, done beautiful work. Your website just showcases your talents, and Concord's going to be very lucky to have you and all of us being able to have a space to go. I'm very glad that you were here. Wonderful little community we've created here. I just feel so grateful that you guys have all taken the time out of your days. It's really late to get here and stay with us, learn about all of the different ways you can support yourself and support each other and be involved in the community. To end us today, I want to tell you just 2 things briefly, just for me, because I also help moms and families document their lives. I want to let you know about Frame of Life. I'm a professional photographer. I've been doing it since 2011. I was photographing families for years and realized that all of us are struggling to actually manage our own memories inside our phones that we have that we always are taking pictures of our kids on. We're overloaded by the pictures there. We're never printing them, no matter how great of intentions we have. And parents and families are just really like starting to realize that this digital overwhelm is just consuming. So I've created my business so that now I can help parents learn how to manage their memories and capture the moments that actually matter and create the stories that mean the most to them and make sure that they can find them when they need to. So building that in the background when I'm not diving into creating communities like this, but I would love to connect with you on my Instagram. It's @FrameOfLife. That's where most of it's happening right now. And then I will be focusing on making the magic come to fruition. I've got a couple clients in here actually right now who are in my masterclass where we are going soup to nuts, how to manage your photos, create final products of them, and really find ways to have deeper connections with your family and your friends and all of the stories that matter. And then our final plug I want to give to the WCPA. I don't know if April is still awake and on here, but if you're want to come on and tell us about member care, you're very welcome to. Otherwise, I'm happy to take that on for you. She might just be listening in the background. But what we have at the WCPA is a member care team. Well, it's all of us basically, but if you're in need of extra help and you need some meals to help get you through those first days of welcoming your baby back, or you get sick and you have surgery and you just need your community of support, part of the benefit of a WCPA membership is that you have access to our member care team that will send out your need and connect you with families that are willing to create little meals to make you feel better and show the love that you have that's close and around you. And it's been a great way to meet people and connect. So be sure to check us out if you haven't already. And thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. This means just so much to feel like we've actually done something for the world. So we did it, and any of you are safe with all of us. We got you. We'll find a way to get through this together. So thank you. And sleep well, because we all need to go to bed right now. Bye, guys.